Good evening, everybody. Lovely seeing you and having you here. And I would like to thank Darren and Beryl for hosting this beautiful shiur. May Hashem bless you and your children, your family, the entire community, and this house and all the houses that Bezrat Hashem, wherever you go, I shouldn't say all the houses, wherever you go, you should bring the blessing along with you. Thank you so much. All the brachot of the Torah. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. In Parashat Kedoshim, one of the two parshas we're going to read this week, we find one of the most fundamental principles of Judaism, and not only in Judaism, but a fundamental principle for the ethics of all humanity in general. Probably one of the most famous pesukim in the entire Torah. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You shall love your fellow as yourself. And everyone loves this principle. Love your fellow as yourself. But in order to properly fulfill a mitzvah, you need to know how to do it. To fulfill the mitzvah of matzah, you need to know how to bake the matzah and how to eat the matzah. Arbat haminim, the four species on Sukkot. You need to know which are the four species and how to hold them. And so too with all the mitzvot. So in order to fulfill the mitzvah of ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love your fellow as yourself. First of all, I need to know what love is and how to love myself and how to love another person, and then I'll be able to fulfill the mitzvah. So what is love? What does it mean to love? Yeah, I know which song you're thinking of. Yeah. The Rabbi also heard a few songs in the past. Yeah.
Probably sing them a bit better than me.
So Rabbi Moshe Lev of Sasov, he says that he learned what love is from two drunken farmers. There were two farmers who were completely drunk, wasted. And one farmer said to the other, "Brew," South African obviously, "Brew, I love you." And the other farmer asked him, "What do I need most in my life?" And the first one answers, "I don't know, my friend. I love you, but I'm not a prophet, so I can't read your mind." And his friend tells him, "If you don't know what I need, then how can you say that you love me?" So Rabbi Moshe Lev of Sasov, he says that he learned from these drunken farmers the true meaning of love. Love means to know what the other person needs, to understand what others want, and to understand their needs. By the way, when I heard this story, I also learned that in order to be able to understand a deep and fundamental concept in the Torah, the best way possible is by first drinking a good l'chaim. I mean, that's what happened, right? Don't think I'm drinking this because I need the whiskey or just because I love the whiskey. This brings the deep secrets of Torah and the depth, especially if it's Glenlivet. You know, it doesn't work with just anything. If it's Glenlivet, so then all the deep secrets of Torah, shkoech, will come out. So yes, we're not Nevi'im, we're not prophets. But at least we try to understand what the other person needs. If you really love someone, you do your best to find out what does that person need and how can I make that person happier. So the Torah says, "Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha." Just like you take care of yourself very well and you know what are your personal needs, and you know exactly what you need to be happier in your own personal life, so too you must understand the needs of others and take care of their needs. And that's how you love them. In practice, loving your wife. Loving your wife doesn't mean that you bring her flowers every Erev Shabbat, or you remember her birthday or the anniversary day by heart. It is a good thing to know, by the way, and my humble advice is that you should do these things. Yes, bring flowers. Yes, remember her birthday and her anniversary. By the way, I told you from the first year that every single day I try to text people from the community, whether it's a yortzeit or Bezrat Hashem, only smachot, only simchas, a birthday, anniversary. The best feedback is from the husbands. They're like, Rabbi, thank you so much for reminding me. You're so amazing. You saved my life. Thank you, Rabbi, for... Now, don't leave it only up to me. You could also write on your calendars, because then if I don't remember, you'll blame me, right? So it's good to do all these things with your wife, but that's not love. Loving your wife means understanding her. Understanding what she needs and taking care of her needs in the best way possible. I'm going to give you an example that I relate to. Most probably I'm the only Michiganer that this happens to me because of the type of person that I am. But maybe, perhaps, other oaks, gentlemen, will relate to this. Some other Michiganers like me will relate to this. So it has happened that I'm having a hectic day and I'm dealing with millions of things. And just when I'm in the busiest part of my day, I get a phone call, Baruch Hashem, and I see on my phone, sweetie. And of course, you answer right away. So I tell her, sweetie, how are you? How's it? How's everything? And she's like, hey, Baruch Hashem, how are you? Oh, good, Baruch Hashem, all amazing. You know, I'm not stressed. Everything's going well. Everything's under control. And she's like, are you busy? I'm like, no, not for you. I mean, of course, I'm available. Whatever you need, you know, just go for it. I'm always available for you. And she goes like, listen, I'm doing some shopping now, and I'm sick of the glass cups that we have at home, and I want to buy new ones. So I'm standing here by the store and have two different types. And one of them is 2 inches bigger than the other one. And I'm not sure which one to buy. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, no, but listen, the one that's 2 inches shorter, it's a bit nicer, but the other one might look more elegant and maybe it looks better with the type of table that we have at home. I'm thinking to myself, you know, the pikuach nefesh, things that I have to do, you know, the things I have to deal with the community, with the school. But right now, I mean, this is obviously a very important question because the 2 inches make a huge difference in the decoration in the house, obviously. So I think to myself, okay, I know what I'm going to do. And I tell her, sweetie, buy whichever one you want. And she's like, no, but I want you to decide. Do you want the one that's shorter or the one that's taller? The one that's more like roundish or the one that has a different shape? And I'm like, sweetie, you could use my credit card. I'll pay for both. You could buy them both. Get them both. And she's like, no, but I want you to decide. I want you to decide, you know. No, she sends pictures. Don't worry. That's part of the whole conversation. I'm making a long story short. 30 minutes. I'm trying to summarize it in less than 3 minutes. So I think to myself, okay, I'm the biggest tzaddik on earth. So not only I'm going to allow her to buy them both, I'm also going to pay for them. And I tell her, sweetie, please buy them both. And I'll sponsor them. Use my credit. Don't worry. I'll pay for. They're both beautiful. You can take. The worst thing you could tell a wife is do whatever you want. So I never say. I say, I'll buy them both. And then I say, is there anything else I could help you with? And she's like, oh, okay, thank you very much. And we hang up. So now I leave that conversation thinking to myself, I'm the biggest tzaddik in the world. Maybe this Yom Kippur I'm not going to have to fast. Not only I answer the phone call, I even offer her to buy them both, and I'm the sponsor number one. And the only sponsor of the new glass cups that we're going to have at home. And when I finished that phone call, my wife thinks this is the biggest Rasha in Jewish history. The most wicked man I've ever met. He doesn't even take a moment to give me his opinion. Who's right? Obviously, she's right.
No, you're right.
Don't argue with the rabbi. You'll get in trouble. Because you're not a tzaddik by just telling her, listen, do whatever you want, buy it, and I'll sponsor it. You're a tzaddik when you really care about her. And you take a moment of your day, no matter how busy you are, in order to show your wife, I care about you, I think about you, and what's important for you, it's important for me. So I'll give you my opinion on the cups. Anyway, she's going to end up buying whatever she wants.
Exactly. That's for sure.
Even if you say, you know what, in my home,
He couldn't help himself. He's not projecting here. I think it's the right one.
he doesn't always make comments on the shurim, but now I got his
Triggered, Rabbi.
his weakness. Yes. He came out so natural. Even if she's going to end up buying whatever she wants, but she wants me to be part of it. And she wants me to think about her, to try to find out what she needs, and to take care of her needs. Your children. Loving your children is not taking them to Geppetto's or Walmart and telling them that they could buy whatever they want. Loving your children is not giving them whatever you want to give them and educating them how you want to educate them, but rather loving your children is understanding what they need and giving them what they need. Both materially, educationally, and also and mainly emotionally. Giving them love and attention. So love is not giving what you feel like giving. Love is giving what the other person needs, understanding what your fellow needs. I gotta share with you a story. In the times of the Khatam Sofer, huge Talmid Chacham, great Torah scholar, in Pressburg, in Europe. He was the Rosh Yeshiva of Pressburg, and one of his students was extremely poor. He had no money even for food and clothing, but he had a special talent. He was an excellent imitator. So in order to have some basic money to eat, he began entertaining the students, the Talmidim of the yeshiva. They will pay him a little money, and he will start imitating. He will make a little money, and with that he will buy food. And his main show was to imitate none other than the Rosh Yeshiva himself, the Khatam Sofer. So he would stand like him, he would speak like him, he would imitate him, and the students would be amazed at how well he did it. Eventually, the Khatam Sofer found out about it, and he hurt him deeply. So he called a gathering, Asefah of the entire yeshiva, to give a shmuz, to give a talk, and everyone knew something serious was coming. So everyone sitting at the yeshiva, the Rosh Yeshiva is coming, and everyone was expecting a rebuke. And the Khatam Sofer, he stood in silence with a serious and sad face, and he said, I was told that there is an important student in this yeshiva who is imitating others, and his friends are paying him for it. And everyone was bracing for the worst. And suddenly the Khatam Sofer begins to cry uncontrollably. And he says, how is it possible that one of my students is so poor that he has to imitate others just to eat? How is it possible that one of my students reached such a level of poverty and hunger, and I did not notice? It's my fault. It is completely my fault. What kind of person am I? What kind of Rosh Yeshiva am I? How did I not notice that one of my students was in such need? What a shame that I did this to him. And he said, I gathered you all only to ask forgiveness from this student publicly, in front of everyone, for not paying attention enough to the needs of my students. And I truly hope this never happens again. And that was his speech. That is love. That is true love. You know, most people would just give them over the head, and the student would be like, you know what, that's it, I'm leaving the yeshiva. Love is knowing what each person needs. Love is understanding and responding to what that person needs. What would you gain by embarrassing? He's embarrassed already just by finding out that the Rosh Yeshiva found out that he's imitating the Rosh Yeshiva and others. So what would you gain by just rebuking the guy and making him feel terrible? He'll probably leave the yeshiva and probably leave Judaism for the rest of his life. But when you really show how much you care about every single student, and you show how much you're looking and you're searching what each one of your students needs, love means understanding and responding to everyone's needs. And loving yourself, kamocha, love yourself is not just being satisfied with who you are or how you look. Loving yourself is understanding what you need and taking care of it. Analyzing and fixing what you truly need in your life. In Parashat Re'eh, the Torah says, Ki patoach tiftach et yadcha lo. You shall surely open your hand and help others. Dei machzoro asher yichsar lo. According to what each person lacks and each person needs. The Torah is telling you, in order to help others, you must open your hand. When your hand is closed, all your fingers look the same. But when you open your hand, you see that each finger is different. One is larger, one is shorter. So too with people. Each person is different. Each human being has different needs. And if you want to help, first you must find out exactly what the other person needs. Otherwise you can't truly help anyone. Helping is not giving what you think the other needs. Helping is discovering what the other truly needs. And every day we say by Ashrei, Poteach et yadecha, Hashem, you open your hand, umasviya lechol charatzon, and you satisfy the desire of every living being. Hashem also, kavayachol, as we can understand this is all a mashal, a parable. He opens his hand, so to speak, and he sees that just like fingers on a hand, we're all different, and he gives each one exactly what he needs. Just like you receive from Hashem everything you need, so too you should give to others what they need. In Parashat Pinchas, Rav Chaim Shmulevitz brings a tremendous insight. Moshe Rabbeinu, at the end of his life, he asks Hashem to appoint a successor. Yifkod Hashem Elokei HaRuchot lechol basar ish al eda. May Hashem Elokei HaRuchot, whatever that means, appoint someone over the community. What's Elokei HaRuchot? Rashi explains, Elokei HaRuchot, Ribono shel Olam, Galui lefanecha, Master of the universe. It is revealed, and you know, it is revealed in front of you. Dato shel kol echad ve'echad, what every person needs. Ve'enan domin ze lazeh, and no person is exactly the same as another person. Maneh alehem manik sheyeh sovel kol echad ve'echad lefi dato. So please choose. Appoint over them a leader who will tolerate each person according to their individual character. Elokei Ruchot means according to what each person needs. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, I don't want a leader that he knows Kol HaTorah Kula and he's the most spiritual and he's the holiest person on earth. I want a leader after me who will be like you, Hashem, that you know how each person is different and you take care of their needs. So this new leader should know how every person in the community in Am Yisrael is different and should take care of the needs of every single individual. From here we learn the main quality of a leader and of leadership. To be a leader, you don't need to be the smartest or the greatest. The Ramban in Parashat Shelach says that Yeshua was not the greatest, not in wisdom and not in honor. He was actually the fifth on the list. That's why by the Meraglim, the spies, he was only the fifth. And yet he was chosen to be the leader of Am Yisrael after Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Because he knew how to deal with each person according to their needs. He loved each person by understanding what each one needed and responding to it. This is love. Love is understanding what your fellow needs and giving it to him. And this is leadership. This shows what kind of person you are. I want to share with you a beautiful story, true story, with Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, the Gadol Ador and the Posek Ador, the greatest rabbi of the previous generation. And he took the decisions of the most complicated and complex halachic questions, Jewish law questions, Tremendous Talmid Chacham. So Rav Moshe Feinstein, when he was approaching the end of his days, one Erev Shabbat, he was very ill, and he was taken to the hospital, and he would have to spend Shabbat over there in the hospital. A few hours before Shabbat, the phone rings in his hospital room. Rav Moshe was very weak, so he wasn't even answering the phone. So his son, Rav David Feinstein, he would answer the phone. So he answers the phone, and there's a lady on the other side of the phone, and she says, "May I please speak to Rabbi Feinstein? I have an important question to ask him." So Rav David, he tried to explain that Rav Moshe had just been admitted to the hospital and he was very weak, he was very ill. So he asks her, "Could you wait until after Shabbat to ask him? Or is it pikuach nefesh? Is this a matter of life and death?" And the woman says, "No, it's not pikuach nefesh, it's not life and death, but..." And he says, "Okay, so could you please try to call after Shabbat?" And she says, "No, I'm very sorry, but I can't wait until after Shabbat." So he says, "Fine. I wanted my father to rest over Shabbat, maybe he'll be able to answer, but if you need to hear the answer before Shabbat, so let's hear, what's the question?" So now when you hear such a phone call, and especially to Rav Moshe Feinstein, you know, nowadays, sometimes we make the biggest halachic questions to the Talmidim, the students of Rav Moshe Feinstein, and it's really difficult, very difficult to get a hold of them. So to speak to Rav Moshe Feinstein in the hospital of Shabbat, so he says, "Fine, ask me the question. I'll try to ask my father bli neder. I can't promise, but I'll try to ask him as soon as possible." So the woman says, "Please ask Rav Feinstein, what time do we light Shabbat candles this week?" Now, Rav David Feinstein almost fainted. He couldn't believe it. Are you kidding me? This lady got the number of the hospital room of my father, and this is the question she's asking the Gadol Hador, the biggest, the giant, colossal of the generation. She's asking what time is candle lighting? A person who makes halachic decisions of life and death. So now most people, how would they react? They would be like, "Listen, lady, take your phone, go on Chabad.org, type your zip code, and you will get the candle lighting times not only for this Shabbat, but for the next 120 Shabbatot if you need. 120 years. 120 years of Shabbatot if you need." Now Rav David was so shocked that he couldn't even answer. So she says, "Listen, I know you're not Rabbi Feinstein, but, and I see that you're shocked from my question, but let me explain to you why I called Rabbi Feinstein." So she says, 7 years ago, my late husband passed away. So I came completely broken to the Gadol Hador. I came to Rabbi Feinstein and I told him, "Rabbi, I don't know what I'm going to do without my husband. I don't even know what time Shabbat candles are lit. My husband used to tell me every week we light candles at this time." And Rav Moshe, the Gadol Hador, he told me, "Don't worry, I can tell you candle lighting every single week. Just call me every Erev Shabbat, and I will gladly tell you what time Shabbat candles are lit." Now trust me, Rav Feinstein was a busy rabbi. And he was taking care of the entire world. But he had time for this poor lady, for this widow. And this lady says, and from that week on, every Friday for the last 7 years, I call Rabbi Feinstein. He tells me what time is candle lighting, and then he wishes me a good Shabbos. I got to share with you a story from this story. One time I shared this story, and a guy came out of my shiur and said, "Rabbi, from today, I'm going to call you every Friday, and I'm going to ask you what time is candle lighting." And he does, and I'm glad that he does it. And every Friday he calls me, he's like, "Rabbi, what time is candle?" I tell him what time is candle, and he's like, "Shabbat Shalom, I just wanted to hear your voice." This is love. This is loving every single person of Am Yisrael. Love will not be buying this woman a calendar and telling her, "Here's your calendar and take care of the candle lighting by yourself." Love is understanding the needs of each individual, of each person. Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Love your fellow as you love yourself. This is the quality of a true leader, of a Gadol Ador, Rav Moshe Feinstein, Yehoshua bin Nun. This is how you become a great person and how you can handle an entire community and an entire Jewish nation on your shoulders. Maybe we're not all rabbis and we're not all manigei ador, the leaders of the Jewish nation and of the generation, but it's definitely a midah, a quality and a character trait that we can all carry within ourselves. We're obligated to fulfill this mitzvah. Everyone is required to fulfill this beautiful mitzvah, ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Love your fellows, you love yourself. And therefore we have to know how to love. And this is how you love. By understanding what every single person, every individual needs. And we read this parasha during the Omer, which is the mourning period of the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva, that they passed away, they died. Why? Because lo na'agu kavod ze lazeh. Because they didn't honor each other. They didn't care about each other. They said to themselves, listen, I'm a big rabbi. There are another 23,999 who are big rabbis also. Why do I have to care about them? Let each rabbi take care of their own shul and their own community. You know, each person with their own problems. That's not love. Love is to connect, to understand others. I always say, when people ask me, Rabbi, how could it be, Rabbi Samy, how could it be that, you know, wherever you go to Chabad, you go to Sephardi shul, you go, wherever you go, you hug the rabbi, you talk to them, you share the tefillah, you share the divrei Torah, the words of Torah, and you give so much respect and honor, and there's so much love and connection. And I always answer, how do I do as far the prayer, davening? That I don't understand yet, but I try my best, and I mean, you can't hide your Litvish, your Lithuanian background, but I try my best. How do I connect to them? Because that's what we're here for. You think Hashem is here only to take care of one community, one shul? Actually, we all belong to one huge community, which is called Am Yisrael. So yeah, obviously Am Yisrael has different branches. There's one called Aish, there's one called Chabad, there's one called... Actually, I gotta share that we are the only place in the world that I know of that Aish and Chabad, we share the same Beit HaKnesset during the week. We share the same shul. And not only we share, we show that love and that connection. That's how it should be. We're all Jewish. You think when Mashiach comes, he's going to ask you, wait, do you eat kitniot on Pesach or you don't get it? Do you eat gefilte fish or Sephardic food?
I'll tell a story.
Do you wear a gartel? Do you go to the mikveh? Do you wear a shtreimel? Are you Lubavitch? Are you Satmer? Are you Litvish? We're all Jewish. We're all part of this huge family. We're all part of this huge, beautiful nation. And we have to love each other. We have to respect each other. And the worst part is that if the last Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of sinat chinam, baseless hatred. What does it mean, baseless hatred? Sometimes you hate a guy because, he did something to you. It's not baseless. The answer is when you understand our responsibility to love every Jew and how important it is for us to be connected. So then when you see someone hating, you say to yourself, that doesn't make sense. It is baseless. Why to hate? What do you gain by hating? If anything, we need to connect, and now more than ever. Hashem should bring peace to Israel and the entire world. Unfortunately, my son's trip to Israel was canceled. So you can imagine how we feel about this war and everything that's going on. Obviously, it was a very big responsibility, and the school made the best decision possible, but it breaks my heart. We've been talking about this Israel trip for months already. But Baruch Hashem, there should be peace, and Bezat Hashem, we should all go to Israel. But, right now that the war is going on, I tell people, I ask them, do you think when they throw the missiles from Iran, and Hashem should take care of our enemies and should destroy them, you think when they throw the missiles, they're like, listen, this one, only Ashkenazim. Only Ashkenazim. And if they daven Nusach Sfarad, even if they're Ashkenazi, not for them. Come on. So why if our enemies don't make a difference about the different types of Jews that we have, why do we make differences? Why do we separate from each other? That's sinat chinam. And if we haven't been able to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash, so that means that we haven't fixed the problem. And we have to promote ahavat chinam, to love. Meaning to care for each other, to understand the needs of each other, and to understand that we're one big family, one big Jewish nation, and we have to take care of every single Jew in the world. And let's start within our circle, and then to grow from that. Start with your family, your spouse, your children, your community. And then everyone, all of Am Yisrael, the entire world, love each and every person who exists in this planet. And of course, don't forget, love yourself. Love your fellow like you love yourself. The Torah is assuming that you know how to love yourself. So make sure you do it. If you want to love every person who exists on this planet, so then you got to start by loving yourself. Understand yourself. Understand what you truly need in your life and provide it. Do not indulge yourself with what you think you would like. Rather help yourself and love yourself by giving yourself what you truly need. Remember that you don't love someone because you understand them. You love someone when you make the effort to understand them. Never judge, just love. Thank you for coming, and thank you for listening.